In tonight's episode of Emmerdale, Arthur Thomas's sly cover-up could be under threat already, as his sister Gabby openly accuses him of hiding a sinister secret regarding Laurel's fall. Can Arthur talk his way out of trouble? Meanwhile, Kane Dingle faces a backlash over his recent car-stealing antics, although it's his granddaughter Sarah Sugden who gets the last word. Gabby notices Arthur's shifty responses anytime Laurel's recent fall is mentioned. She's also curious when Manpreet reveals that Laurel's blackout was supposedly caused by slipping on one of Dottie's toys at home. The explanation doesn't seem to ring true. Putting the clues together, Gabby voices her new theory that Arthur pushed Laurel and that she's now covering for him. Viewers know that Gabby is bang on the money, but how will her family respond to her insinuations? Already in a foul mood due to the stresses he's facing, Kane is annoyed when Jacob turns up at the garage to pick a fight with him. Jacob rants about Kane getting Sarah involved in stealing cars. News that also infuriates Charity when she witnesses the row. Jacob and Charity can't believe that Kane would be so reckless over Sarah's welfare, as she's due to become a mum in a few weeks' time. But will Kane show any remorse for his behavior? Liam shares his own concerns over Kane, gently suggesting that his decision to get Sarah involved in criminal activity proves he isn't coping. The local doctor suggests an alternative course of action. Kane should tell everyone the truth about his cancer diagnosis, so he can get the support he clearly needs. And later, Sarah also reveals how she feels about the troubling situation. Jacob is dismayed when Dr. Todd tries to reschedule their planned meeting to discuss his research proposals. This is part of Todd's prestigious mentoring program, but the change in date will clash with Jacob's regular coursework. With so many responsibilities piling up, Jacob struggles to cope. Carrie and Jai continue their workplace fling, which includes risky liaisons in the office. Carrie reckons she's being clever, as she later mocks Jai in front of her colleagues, hoping to throw them off the scent. Will Jai see this as a clever cover, or will he hate being the butt of the joke? Arthur Thomas had never been particularly good at lying. He told himself he was protecting his mum, that it was the right thing to do, that nobody needed to know the truth about Laurel's fall. But every time her name was mentioned, his pulse jumped and his mouth went dry. Laurel's accident had shaken the family. One minute she'd been bustling around the house, the next she was unconscious on the floor. The official explanation, that she'd slipped on one of little Dottie's toys and blacked out, was tidy. Almost too tidy. And Gabby noticed. Gabby Thomas had always had sharp instincts. She'd spent enough years navigating chaos to recognize when something didn't add up. So when Manpreet casually repeated the toy slip explanation in the cafe, Gabby's brow furrowed. A toy, she echoed. Laurel's not exactly careless. Manpreet shrugged, sympathetic but uncertain. That's what she says happened. But Arthur, sitting rigidly at the table, avoided eye contact. His knee bounced under the table. He stirred a cold drink that didn't need stirring. Gabby's eyes narrowed. Later, at home, she confronted him. You're acting weird, she said bluntly. Every time someone mentions Mum's fall, you go pale. Arthur forced a laugh. You're imagining things. Am I? She shot back. Because it looks to me like you're hiding something. He snapped then too quickly. Just drop it, Gabby. The outburst only confirmed her suspicions. Putting the clues together, Laurel's hesitation, Arthur's panic, the implausible explanation, Gabby voiced the unthinkable. You pushed her, didn't you? She whispered. The words hung heavy in the air. Arthur's face drained of color. Gabby pressed on, her voice trembling. And she's covering for you. Viewers might know she was right, that an argument had spiraled out of control, that a split-second shove had led to a devastating fall. But for the family, this accusation felt like a bombshell. Arthur shook his head furiously. You don't know what you're talking about. But the doubt had been planted. When Gabby later confided in Jai, her voice shook with a mix of anger and fear. If I'm right, we can't just pretend nothing happened. The question now wasn't whether Arthur could lie convincingly. It was whether his family wanted to believe him. Kane under fire. Across the village, another storm was brewing. Kane Dingle was already in a foul mood when Jacob stormed into the garage. You think this is funny? Jacob demanded. Getting Sarah involved in stealing cars? Kane didn't even look up at first. Mind your own business. It is my business. Jacob shot back. She's pregnant, Kane. She's due in weeks. And you're dragging her into criminal rubbish. The raised voices drew attention, and Charity was quick to intervene. What's going on? She demanded. When Jacob explained, Charity's fury ignited instantly. You what? Kane's jaw tightened. She made her own choices. Oh, don't give me that. Charity snapped. You're her granddad. You're supposed to protect her, not put her at risk. The truth was more complicated. Kane's recent recklessness wasn't just about money or pride. It was about fear. But he couldn't say that. Not yet. Liam later approached him with careful concern. You're not coping, Liam said gently. Getting Sarah mixed up in this. It's not like you. Kane bristled. You don't know me. I know enough, Liam replied. And I think it's time you told everyone what's really going on. Kane's silence spoke volumes. Liam lowered his voice. Tell them about the cancer. The word hit like a hammer. Kane had been carrying the diagnosis alone, convinced that admitting it would make him weak. But his secrecy was pushing him further into isolation, and dragging others down with him. Later that evening, Sarah confronted him herself. I don't need protecting from the truth, she said quietly. But I do need you to stop treating me like I'm disposable. Her words cut deeper than Jacob's anger ever could. I wanted to help you, Kane muttered. By risking everything? She asked. I'm about to be a mum. I can't afford stupid mistakes. And neither can you. For once, Kane had no comeback. Sarah got the last word. I love you, she said firmly. But if you don't start acting like you want to see your great-grandchild grow up, I'm done covering for you. The ultimatum lingered long after she walked away. Jacob's breaking point. As if confronting Kane wasn't enough, Jacob's own world was threatening to collapse. Dr. Todd's prestigious mentoring program was meant to be the opportunity of a lifetime, a stepping stone into serious medical research. But when Todd abruptly tried to reschedule their crucial meeting, it clashed with Jacob's coursework. I can't just skip lectures, Jacob insisted. Todd's tone was clipped. Opportunities require flexibility. Flexibility. Easy to say when you weren't juggling deadlines, family drama, and emotional fallout. By the time Jacob left the surgery, his chest felt tight. The weight of expectation, from Todd, from himself, pressed down heavily. Layla noticed immediately. You're burning out, she warned. I'm fine, he insisted, though his voice lacked conviction. The truth was, he wasn't fine. He was exhausted, angry, overwhelmed, and watching Sarah risk her future only heightened his anxiety about losing control. For someone so desperate to build a stable future, the chaos around him felt suffocating. Dangerous games at the office. Meanwhile, at the factory, another secret flirted with exposure. Carrie and Jai's workplace fling had escalated from stolen glances to risky office liaisons. The thrill of almost being caught added fuel to the fire. But Carrie was nothing if not strategic. When colleagues gathered in the break room, she loudly mocked Jai's managerial quirks, rolling her eyes for dramatic effect. Honestly, he takes himself so seriously, she joked, drawing laughter. Jai forced a tight smile. Later, in private, he confronted her. Was that really necessary? It's called misdirection, Carrie replied breezily. No one suspects the woman who takes the mick out of you. Or maybe, Jai said coolly, they just think you don't respect me. The comment stung. Carrie hadn't considered that angle. For her, it was a clever cover. For Jai, it felt humiliating. You're not the butt of the joke, she insisted. Felt like it, he replied. The playful spark between them flickered uncertainly. Secrets required trust. And trust was fragile. Family fault lines. Back at the Thomas household, Gabby's theory refused to fade. She watched Arthur carefully over dinner. Every flinch, every hesitation, reinforced her suspicion. Finally, she confronted Laurel directly. Mum, did Arthur push you? Laurel froze. 1,000 emotions flashed across her face. Fear, protectiveness, guilt. No, she said softly. It was an accident. But Gabby saw the crack in her voice. You don't have to protect him, she insisted. We can deal with it. Laurel's eyes filled with tears. He's my son. And you're my mum, Gabby replied fiercely. Arthur listened from the hallway, heart pounding. He never meant for it to happen. The argument had been stupid, petty. He'd shoved her in frustration, just a small push. But the look on her face, as she fell, replayed endlessly in his mind. He stepped into the room. Stop, he said hoarsely. Both women turned. Arthur swallowed hard. The lie balanced on his tongue. But for a fleeting second, he looked ready to confess. Would he? Or would fear win again? A village on edge. As night settled over the dales, each household carried its own tension. Kane stared at his reflection in the darkened garage window, Liam's words echoing in his mind. Tell them the truth. Gabby lay awake, replaying every detail of Laurel's fall. Jacob hunched over his coursework, fighting exhaustion. Carrie and Jai sat in strained silence, the thrill of secrecy now tinged with doubt. The village might appear calm under moonlight, but cracks were spreading. Arthur's cover-up was already wobbling. Kane's defiance was isolating him. Jacob's ambition teetered on burnout. Carrie and Jai's flirtation risked humiliation. Secrets have a way of surfacing in Emmerdale. And when they do, the fallout rarely spares anyone. Tomorrow would bring new confrontations. Hard truths. Perhaps even redemption. But tonight, the village held its breath.